Hey everybody, what the flick? Handmaid's Tale, episode 11 of 13, called
Holly.
Holly, right? That makes sense.
Which is June's mom. Which my guess is, I thought it was kind of interesting, the idea that giving birth by herself sort of allows June to both remember her mother not being there and also to forgive her mother not being there, because Holly promised June that she would be at her birth, and June promised her unborn child that she was not going to be born in Gilead. And so it's like sometimes moms say things and then can't deliver.
Yeah, she named the baby Holly too, right? That seemed like
yes.
it, right?
Yeah. So she, although her mom apparently, at least it was flight, like her mom was coming.
Yes.
Right. So it suggests that they ended things were left on better terms than they had been, and that's also why she chose to. So
we got to see that June and her mom had more of a complicated relationship than previously. It was almost like portrayed as they just had a bad relationship.
Right. No, it's complicated. She was obviously she badly still wanted her mom's approval, and she clearly respected her mom. She
loves her mom.
Right. Loves her mom and respects her too. So as I was watching this last night, or a couple nights ago, I was reminded of your issues, Brooke, with the episode before, which were so the rapes.
I don't remember. I have so many issues.
No, but I mean, you were like, I couldn't watch.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you had trouble watching, and that was just the previous episode, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't watch the birth.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, what is that? And after, it was funny, and my wife was laughing at me, and I mean, I wasn't like, I was just like, oh, okay, all right.
I'm sure your wife was like, yeah, it's real hard for you.
Right.
I love childbirth videos. It's a weird thing about me that has nothing to do with this, but I think like childbirth is so beautiful, and like it doesn't. I've watched an elephant give birth on YouTube. I think it's something everyone should do.
So, but it is.
So I was not squeamish at all.
I can't get past the pooping. Like I feel like there's no way that pooping isn't happening.
But I was not super pleased with. Now I had trouble watching the sexual assault scenes too. We were both like, but that somehow I had a more visceral reaction to the birth than the sexual assault scenes is, I don't know, troubling. I mean, I'm sure human. Like, I mean, it doesn't mean I'm highly in favor of one and very much against the other. But still, anyway, I was just struck.
Well, I'll put it this way: you've probably seen a lot more sexual assaults in the movies over the years than you have.
Of course, right? We've been inert. I mean, violence is part of watching. We reviewed Sicario today. That review should be up on the What the Flick page, and it's a spectacularly violent movie with blood and pain, to some extent too, which much violence doesn't have. It's just you just see death, people shot in the head. There's so many people shot in the head in Sicario. It's staggering, and you're like,
right. That's a culture thing, though. Yeah. I think that violence against women is so normalized. Like, look at the way we talk about abusers, perpetrators of abuse. Like, oh, they made mistakes. They're different now. I think it's just society has numbed a lot of people to.
Yeah, I know.
It's not that you don't think it's awful. It's that it's.
No, and I'm sure there are plenty of guys, and I hope I qualify as a decent guy who probably had that same reaction. But since your reaction was so visceral, I was just thinking of it, and I was like, wow, I think I got this wrong. This is not how it should be. Anyway, that birth scene was quite a thing. We don't see a pregnant woman on all fours, naked, birthing herself often in movies.
I was glad that we got that flashback scene where the friend says, my friend gave birth alone in the woods, and she put it on YouTube. Like it's sort of a reminder, like, no, this does happen. It can happen. It's not ideal. It's childbirth is a there's a million things that can go wrong, and it's super painful. But on the other hand, like it's a natural function, and women have done it alone. And
Speaking, just when the flashbacks to when Hannah was being born. Something about just the relationship between June and Moira and Luke. It's so loving, and it's this like triangular all love relationship, but how competitive Moira and Luke always are.
Not your playlist.
Right, I went back, I watched that twice just because it was so cute. The look that Luke gave Moira when he like, man.
Yeah, like my playlist, no, totally. And
they're so sweet together, all of them,
and such great writing there to get to how Alonso said, that when Moira says, because at the time she says it, hey, my friend gave birth in the woods by herself, put it on YouTube. You just think it's Moira's way of awkwardly cutting through this difficult moment between
mother and daughter.
but there's foreshadowing in it too. So they saw again two things at the same. It's just good. It's just one of the many reasons why the show is so strong.
The thing that I wish I could forget, the blood-curdling scream, Alfred!
Yeah.
When Serena is walking through that, it just like made my body hurt.
But let's talk about the Waterfords.
Okay, the little fight they had.
That little fight is like, okay, y'all are hanging on by a thread.
And you both know how awful you are.
Oh yeah.
There's this idea that they're doing this for the greater good. No, you just know you're bad. You're doing this to get what you want.
Yeah, their external performance of piety is only going to take them so far.
Yes,
but at their core, they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, were you thinking that yesterday when you raped her? That was your idea.
Right.
Like, this is this conversation doesn't reflect well on either of you.
Yeah. But somebody's going to go to Hawaii, I'm thinking.
I just wanted a baby. Now I'm never going to get to hold my baby. I've been doing all of this because I wanted a baby. I mean, I feel like there were other options.
Yeah, right, sure.
Besides overthrowing the government, yes, for sure.
So nice that we got. First of all, we've got both the studio and live versions of "Hungry Heart," which is nothing. Nothing wrong with that.
A song I never need to hear again in real life. No shade, but it's in my DNA at this point. But I have to say, if I had been living under a repressive regime for a couple of years, that would be a nice like.
So the only thing that I didn't buy was that totally. I get that. I mean, there's no bigger Springsteen fan in the world, and so I just love it when he sort of gets sort of that, sort of when he appears surprisingly out of. But if you had been even in her state, if you hadn't heard radio or music and you stumbled on it and you're that age, and I think you let the song finish.
Wait, speaking of, was that Oprah?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Was Oprah.
What was Oprah?
The voice.
The announcer on the radio.
That was Oprah.
No.
So it was for sure.
It was for sure Oprah.
That's kind of awesome. Yeah.
So in this universe, Oprah is either running the voice of America or she's the president.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
It also didn't fully explain where America is. We know Hawaii is.
Hawaii and Alaska, I think, is what they've established.
Do you think that's it?
Maybe. I mean, because
she said somewhere in America, broadcasting from somewhere in America.
Yeah, well, because I think they got to keep it secret, obviously. But then it got me thinking. Like,
I assume they're across the border. I assumed they were across the border. Like it was just in.
That's true.
Canada,
yeah, that was my next thing. It's like for a terrestrial radio to pick up the signal, they would have to be transmitting from Canada. Because Hawaii and Alaska is way too far away, and it's not like this was Sirius XM or something.
Oh, right.
But that's how Voice of America worked, I assume.
Sure.
Like we were right at the edge of the Iron Curtain, blasting into By the way, keep an eye out for who they want to put in charge of Voice of America. There's a petition online about it because it's some Steve Bannon guy.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So just Google that. It's a horror show.
Why should this government agency be any better than any other?
Exactly.
What else happened?
Well, first of all, Yvonne, let me get her name right, Strahovski.
Yes.
Who is
Serena.
I mean, man, that is
she is
a good actress.
Killing it this season.
Yeah,
it reminds me of how Monique played Precious. It took me a while to be able to like her again afterwards, and I'm like, well, she was just acting.
Yeah,
and they played the mother of Precious. And I was like,
she's in a lot of been in a few of the stay tuned after the episodes, and she and seeing her sort of delightfully describe her character.
Right, and I'm like, I'm still mad at you.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, man, these are all of these women. I mean, Elizabeth Moss and who plays Moira? What's her name?
My
God! I wanted to. God, I knew until you asked me.
That is so weird. Of course I knew. She was Poussey on Orange Is the New Black.
I'll have it before you people can get it.
Samira Wiley.
Damn it.
Damn it. It was something we all just forget.
Alexis Bledel. Yeah, no. This is Madeline Brewer plays Janine.
Killing this.
And Ann Dowd, of course. Let's not forget Ann Dowd. And this was actually, I don't think we've had a bottle episode on Handmaid's Tale yet.
Oh, also, when they were having that fight back in the house,
I just learned what that was this week.
Oh my God.
I mean, I know those episodes exist. I did not know that they're.
What do you mean?
We've talked about bottle episodes on other recaps.
And I'm sure, and I just winged it. Yeah.
Bottle bottle episode is something where it usually boils down to like 1 or 2 characters in the show and like 1 location.
Okay.
And this is obviously a bottle episode with a lot of flashbacks and stuff, but nonetheless, it's like, but having
frequently they're cheaper.
Yes, a lot of times they'll write one in because they're over budget on the season. So
got it.
Like there's like Fly on Breaking Bad, where like the entire thing is just the 2 of them inside the meth lab and the fly that's stuck in there. You know, there was a Mad Men one. There was a like Masters of Sex. There's all. But usually it's like you take 1 or 2 characters, confine them to a hotel room or a building or something.
Or a set that frequently it'd be used for a set of a different show. Like that's there, we can use this set, we'll have this whole episode take place here. Yeah.
So I mean, this one, they still had to shoot all, like I said, the flashback stuff, but pretty much it's her in the house the entire time. So I'm gonna count this as a bottle.
No, this definitely counts as a bottle episode.
So when they were in the house arguing, because there's so many directions that this could go, or that we kind of learned or didn't learn, we still don't know what happened to Nick, where Nick is. We were like, they
alive
don't
or
know
dead,
what happened to Nick.
He's
They think
alive.
Nick has run away with her.
Right.
And
well, probably, but we don't know.
Right. And then
We
she
know.
said, we're having a pregnant handmaid run away twice. Are they talking about the 2 times
That
June
she ran away,
June specific? Because for a second I thought, wait,
there was another one?
Because there was another handmaid that killed herself.
Right. Yeah, no. This is June 2nd.
Right.
They're
Yeah,
arguing that they can't survive that with the Gilead Central Committee.
Right. Yeah. Like if he can't keep his own house in order, how can he be a commander of anybody else?
And they said even that line there, like the seriousness of it, but like we'll be on the wall.
Right.
Like they're gonna hang us.
When June loaded the shotgun, and then first of all, it took me a second to realize that's what she was doing. I was like, why would you ever be making noise?
Right. Why are you opening this?
What? Why are you opening stuff? And then I'm like, baby, snap out of it, shoot him. Like I was like, what are you shooting him?
Do it.
You're right.
Who would she have shot, you think?
I don't know. I just somewhere in that direction. Just they were at one point they were back to back. Just try.
Yeah.
Please.
Go for a one
Right.
on 2. Yeah.
So we didn't advance the story. Well, I mean, I suppose we advanced it
But the
significantly.
baby was born, so
the baby
there's
was
that,
born, and
yeah.
then I guess at the end we hear she made a great fire, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that fire was roaring all night. So we hear the car arriving. So someone is arriving, and
There was a car. I missed that. How did I miss that?
right at the end, there's the sound as she's sort of waking up of there's a car arriving at the house. So we can pick up with them in a hospital or something, if they choose to.
Yeah, but who knows who's in that car? Maybe
We don't know who's in that car.
It's the resistance.
I
I'm
feel
saying,
good
but
that
because we
Serena-
didn't see it, my hunch, yes, you're right, that they've saved themselves getting her, narratively getting her out of that. We could, if we just find her in a hospital, they've established, somebody came. Obviously,
yeah.
at some point, when they make a call, authorities are gonna go to that house.
Right.
And I've seen people theorizing that part of the reason that Nick got sent on this thing was so that the commander could have him killed. Because either the commander knows that he passed the letters along, or that he knows that he's the real dad, whatever. I don't know if that's a thing.
Oh, that was mentioned too. You sent her here with the father of her baby. Like I'm like, okay, we're doing this. We're just out in the open about
So
it.
they've mentioned it twice, so I didn't realize that Joe Fiennes knew that.
Yes, and because I thought it was a thing when June told him last week that it was the first time, and then somebody pointed out, no, he was already aware.
Serena told him that it wasn't his baby. They got in a little bit of a fight, and she kind of used that against him. But I don't remember her specifing
It had to
that
be.
it was Nick.
that it was Nick's. Also, the baby is obviously Nick's. Did you guys catch that?
No, the hair or what?
The skin. Like when she was hugged up next to the baby, I was like, oh. And how is that? How are you gonna sell that? Even if this went through perfectly through Serena's eyes, how do you sell that?
That I don't know. Is that
When she's walking around with this brown baby, does no one care?
I don't have Nick.
Is Nick a person of color?
I don't have Nick
think
as a person of
that
color.
way.
I have Nick.
No?
I have Nick as a white person. In my
Yeah,
head.
he just seems like a white guy with black
Is my
hair.
screen too dark?
Get on it, Hulu.
This is gonna be a really funny and a more awful moment in the comment section.
No, I don't.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I have Nick in my head as sort of, his dad was
Like Olive, maybe.
right. He's Greek,
Yeah.
Greek by
Okay,
heritage.
not me.
Yeah.
But
Mediterranean.
2 against 1. I'm starting to second guess. Been 2 seasons thinking, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, because that's a tough one to pull off.
move past
I
that,
think
yeah.
if they to have him be the
Right,
father,
right.
I think they would maybe think
I've been
twice
thinking
about
that
one.
this whole time, like what happens if the baby looks looks like, Nick. How are they going to sell that? I've been thinking that this whole time.
It reminds me of my favorite terrible line from the terrible movie Mandingo.
Okay.
The baby come, but it ain't white.
I disagree.
Actual line from an actual movie.
Disagree with that assessment. I mean, Mandingo I find to be wonderful in its unbelievable, crazy, awful, kooky.
Well, no, it's good bad. I mean, like it's watchable bad, but it's bad.
Yeah, we just did it for TCM with Donald Bogle, like with a.
Oh well, okay, that works.
Right.
That's a context.
We contextually put it.
Yes. I love when y'all test the C in TCM.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm over here. Like, they are going to eat me alive.
Don't read the comments. That's always the best plan of action. 2 more to go.
Yeah, 2 more to go. Although I read that apparently the showrunner talked about. Because my wife's been asked, is this it? Is there going to be more seasons? And I'm like, yeah, they're definitely Hulu's biggest to date.
Yeah.
But 10. He's thinking 10.
Wow.
Seasons. Which, and then it was reminded in this Guardian piece that critics have said this year is torture porn, and there's certainly an argument to be made for that. That what could we possibly be doing 7 seasons from now? Like to still. Because even that scene, we were like, oh yeah, this season has had a couple of shows, including episode 10, that reminded us, oh yeah, this is a brutal, awful, terrible place. How often are we going to get reminded of this brutal, awful? Anyway, 10 seasons seems like a lot.
It does. Listen, she can't get away and come back and get away and come back. I can't do that. I keep bringing it up. I can't do Quantico again.
Right.
I needed in season 1 them to figure out who did it and let things go. As much as I loved those actresses and actors, I
think you could do a whole season that's just in Canada, or even just in other parts of the world, and how does the Gilead influence?
I want to know the Gilead. I mean, and this is not a great episode, but I want to the Gilead economy. Is Champion making sweatshirts still?
Right.
Is there a coffee shop anywhere? Is there a Chuck E. Cheese? Is there anything happening? Is any business?
How does this work?
How does this work? How are they doing anything? Because I guess they're making, Land Rover's still making SUVs, but other than that,
canned goods with pictures on the label.
Right, but who's
Mercedes
making?
is still making
who's
sedans.
making anything?
It's not happening here, but they're still importing them, which is interesting.
Importing.
Benz is just sedans.
Right.
And the G-Wagons.
Yeah, Range Rovers are British.
Does anybody have a red car?
Right.
These are questions that I actually have. I don't think this is a bad episode. I need this.
No. I meant my suggestion.
No, I know. I'm saying I don't think
is there a level of society that isn't in uniform?
So we saw the black guy who helped her, who got hanged. I don't think was hanged because we never saw him. I think that was somebody. So, but since we haven't seen him in 9 episodes, maybe I'm wrong. That life, even though that life was still uniformed in going to church, and that was still there was a piousness to that life. Still, those people were living in an apartment. Right, with their kid, and
he had a normal clothes.
He was wearing jeans and a hoodie.
You're right. Okay, yeah.
So does that exist anywhere? Anyway, I'm curious for a Gilead economy story.
Go deep. Why not?
All right. Next week I won't be here, but I'll be back for the finale.
Okay. Excellent. See you then.